Hi guys, this is Mike Harnett from NFE Systems. Welcome to the fourth video in our series on BurpSuite, and today we're going to be looking at the Comparer tab. Now the Comparer tab is a very useful tab. It's something that we use to compare either certain requests or certain responses we're getting back from the server to see what difference is in the responses. Now, there's a whole range of reasons why you want to use them. The example I'm going to use today is a login screen. I'm going to send one request in with an invalid username and one with a valid username. So when you're doing a test against a website, you want to create an account that's valid, and then you can send an invalid and a valid login and compare the difference between the two. To give you an idea of what the back end is doing, is there any options for potentially hijacking that information? So there are a variety of ways of getting data into the Compare tab, as for all the rest of them. So one option, if you took a copy of a request or response and copied it to a text file, you can load that and point it to the text file. You can go to the Proxy tab, go to the HTTP history, which keeps history of all the requests you've done. You can select the request or the response you're interested in. So you can right click, select Send to Comparer, and specify either request or response, or both if you want. But the way we're going to do it today is we're going to go to the Intercept tab and turn Intercept on. Alright, okay, so we want to go to a login page. Okay, I'll forward that. Right, so at the moment we're already logged in, so let's just log out for a second. Right, we're logged out, so let's turn Intercept back on again. Now we want to test with our non-valid user, so Mike and test. Okay, that's not a valid username, so we're going to click log into that. We'll intercept that request. We can see, yep, Mike and test. So we right click, send to Comparer. Now we're going to forward that to the web server, and then we get the response back, and we want to send that response to the Comparer. And then we're going to forward that onto the browser to get the response back. So when we forward that, we see, yep, account does not exist. That is not a valid account. So the second one we're going to do now, we're going to actually send a valid username and password. So admin and admin. So we click login. We get the request again. So admin and admin. So we right click, send that to Comparer. Forward that on to the server and back again. And now we want to send the response back to the Comparer. Now, if we go to the Comparer tab, we'll see a top box and a bottom box. Now, we'll see along the side we've got request number 31, 32, 33, and 34, and that matches the same ones at the bottom. So 31 at the top here is the same as 31 down the bottom here. Now, if you remember, the first request we sent through was a post request with the invalid login account. So we want to compare that against the second request we sent with the valid username and password. So we've got the top one, 31, which is the incorrect one, and then 33, which is the correct login. So we're going to click Compare Words, and then we get the response back up here. We see there's not really much difference between the two of them. There's color-coded with different colors, brown being modified, blue being deleted, and yellow being added. So we can see that there's some modified entries here. We can see the modifications are basically the username and password, and also the content length, because the length is different on these, because obviously the username and password is different on this one than it is on this one. So there's extra 2 characters. So we see that the content length is 2 longer than the other one. Okay, so there's not really much interesting in those requests. So now what we want to do is we want to check the responses. So we're going to select the first response up here on the top box, and we're going to select the second response on the second one. So we see one of them was a 200 and the other one was a 302. So we're going to compare these. There we go. Now we're seeing quite a bit more different information in here now. On the left-hand side, remember this is the incorrect one with the incorrect username and password. We see it's a 200 OK. We see the logged in user is blank. Now on the right-hand side, we see a 302, which is a redirect to a different page. We also see that it's setting cookies here, so we can see it's set a cookie of username equals admin. It's set a cookie of UID equals 1. We've also got a logged in user of admin. Now, you're not going to see something probably on a site this simple, but this process, it tells you what it's actually doing when you get a valid user. So in this particular scenario, we could try sending some requests and actually setting the cookie username equals root username, and trying different usernames to see if we're able to log in without providing a password. Maybe this site just checks a cookie. If it's a username equals root, it lets you straight through. The same with UID equals 1. We could send multiple requests with different UID numbers and see how many accounts we could potentially access. Maybe we find an admin account, and then we're good to go. So this is the sort of thing that you can use the compare tab for. There's loads of different types of stuff you can do, but hopefully this gives you an idea of the sort of things you can look at doing. We will go into some much more detail when we're doing the web application series I'm going to do shortly. So hopefully that's given you a good introduction to the compare tab. If there's any comments, please put it below. If you like the video, please like it, and please subscribe. Right, cheers guys, thanks, bye.